Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 general election has taken shape. It's going to be a two-horse race between Raila Amolo Odinga, the Azimio la Umoja or Azimio One Kenya candidate, versus William Samoei Arap Ruto, the Kenya Kwanza candidate. I know there are several other individuals who will be contesting for the presidency, but it's going to be a two-horse race. And there are two regions which are going to determine who becomes the next president of the Republic of Kenya. The first region is the Mount Kenya region. The person who is going to carry the day there is likely to become the next president of the Republic of Kenya. And not just carrying the day. For William Ruto to win the presidency, he must get 80% of the larger Mount Kenya region votes. For Raila Amolo Odinga to have high chances of defeating Ruto, he must get at least 40% of the votes from the larger Mount Kenya region. And the other region which is going to determine who becomes the next president of the Republic of Kenya is Western Kenya region. And that's why you are currently witnessing the possibility of William Samoei Arap Ruto nominating Musalia Mudavadi as his running mate. And because those two regions are going to determine who becomes the next president of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to be right in the middle of ensuring that Mount Kenya region votes the way he wants. Which takes us to the question, if elections were to be held today in this country, who is likely to win the Mount Kenya region votes? If a contest is between Ruto versus Uhuru Kenyatta. If the contest is between those two, and you remove Raila Amolo Odinga out of the picture completely, who do you think is likely to win? I want to read your opinion. Do you think Ruto, in a clear contest with Uhuru Kenyatta in the larger Mount Kenya region, without Raila Odinga in the picture, will defeat Uhuru? For me, I don't think so. Uhuru Kenyatta is likely to win. But the endorsement of Raila Odinga by President Uhuru Kenyatta is actually the biggest challenge for the president, because they campaigned Raila Amolo Odinga for almost 20 good years. So it will take them time to undo those campaigns. So in this video, I want us to look at the secret weapons which the president is now trying to use to outwit William Ruto in the larger Mount Kenya region. Because the truth of the matter is that President Uhuru Kenyatta must deliver at least 40% of the larger Mount Kenya region to Raila Odinga. When President Uhuru Kenyatta endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga, of course the truth is Raila Odinga's rating in the larger Mount Kenya region shot up a bit. But it's less than 30%. Can Uhuru Kenyatta manage to push it to say 40%? Because that's what they are looking at. Before we get into all those details, if you are watching this channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thank you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Now, let us get back to business, and I want to be very brief. President Uhuru Kenyatta endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga for the presidency. That endorsement means that he must go outside there and deliver the larger Mount Kenya region. But William Samoei Arap Ruto also understands one fact, that for him to become the next president of the Republic of Kenya, he must win the support of the larger Mount Kenya region. And that's why you saw William Ruto escalating his activities in the larger Mount Kenya region. Immediately, President Uhuru Kenyatta endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga. But the president is yet to go to the mountain to sell Raila Amolo Odinga. In fact, I read a very interesting question on this platform. Someone asked me, Lee, why is it that President Uhuru Kenyatta is yet to go with Raila Odinga to the larger Mount Kenya region? Personally, I'm on record stating here that Uhuru Kenyatta is one politician who hardly makes political mistakes. So the moment you see Uhuru Kenyatta not going to the larger Mount Kenya region with Raila Odinga, there is something which is still doing. Which begs the question, what are the strategies which Uhuru Kenyatta is currently trying to use to win the support of the larger Mount Kenya region. The first strategy in my view, which is coming out very strongly, is poaching strong candidates. Uhuru Kenyatta took time. Of course, he is now fully in charge of Jubilee. He has identified those who will be with him and those who will not be with him. But you see, William Ruto has UDA party in the larger Mount Kenya region, and he committed one mistake. William Ruto identified preferred candidates. If you go to Murang'a, for example, his preferred candidate is Rungu Kang'ata. So what the president has done, he has identified another strong candidate in Murang'a, for example, Jamlek Kamau. Jamlek Kamau wanted to go to UDA, he delayed. Then because UDA is strong there, he tried to go to Chama cha Kazi, but he was unveiled as the gubernatorial candidate for Murang'a the other day. So that's the first strategy he's doing. In fact, this strategy, Uhuru Kenyatta started implementing it during the Kiamba by-election. After losing in Georgia, Uhuru Kenyatta decided to try something new. So he went to Kiamba and identified a very strong candidate down there and sponsored. And that candidate almost won because the difference was, I think, less than 2,000 or 1,000. That's exactly what he's now doing. Uhuru Kenyatta is going around Mount Kenya region, identifying strong candidates who are willing to run on other political parties and is bringing them. Let me use the case which is now very common and most of you might not have realized this. The Meru gubernatorial seat. You know, in Meru, Peter Munya wanted to run. And if Peter Munya were to run, Kiraitu would have forgotten about the seat. So what Uhuru did, because Kiraitu was waiting for Munya's political move, to make a move. So if Munya had stuck with Azimio, Kiraitu Murungi would have gone to UDA. Uhuru Kenyatta realized that. So what he did, he waited, convinced Munya not to run, and then Kiraitu was convinced that Munya was going to support him. So Kiraitu is now going to run under Mbas. And Mbas is fully in Azimio. So as we speak in Meru, the strong candidates is the lady is called Nyawera Mwangaza versus Kiraitu. And the latecomer who is Mithika Linturi, the three guys. But the chances of either Nyawera Mwangaza or Kiraitu Murungi winning are so high than chance of Mithika Linturi. So Uhuru is doing this in almost all levels. That's why you saw in Kirinyaga, Kirinyaga, the former senator was brought on board. In Murang'a, Kembe Gitura brought on board. So basically he's trying to poach them. So that's the first step. And that's going to work for him. The second step which the president is doing or is using, in my view, is poaching. Is the promise of financial support to candidates. You see, there could be very strong candidates, but they lack finance. And of course, you can't divorce finance from politics. And Uhuru Kenyatta is telling anybody who is willing to run under Jubilee that they will be supported financially. As a matter of fact, even before the nomination, what they have agreed is that if you have a function and you are supporting Jubilee, just give the program well in advance, then they are going to organize and you are going to get the facilitation to organize those events. Let me tell you what normally happens in politics. Politics is a very expensive game. Normally, most aspirants start campaigning early. By now, most of politicians are broke by now. So if Uhuru Kenyatta is promising to finance, you'll see a lot of people moving. And that's why in, was it in Murang'a where I was reading, that the aspirant, I think in Kiambu, the aspirants who are contesting in UDA were 40-something, and those who are contesting on Jubilee were over 100 candidates. So that's explain why there's a lot of political activities in Jubilee Party. The promise of financial support. And I know what the president is doing because he has the resources, probably is using the intelligence to identify those strong candidates, and they'll be given money. And Uhuru is promising that he's not going to leave them. So after the nominations, we are going to see Jubilee. And the other thing is that Uhuru Kenyatta is revamping Jubilee and is making Jubilee the dominant party in the larger Mount Kenya region. Let us wait and see whether it's going to succeed, because as we speak now, UDA is well advanced. Well ahead in the larger Mount Kenya region. Number three, the third thing which Uhuru is successfully doing, especially in the larger Mount Kenya region, is Uhuru Kenyatta is setting the 2022 contest to be Uhuru versus Ruto. Setting that contest to be Uhuru versus Ruto would shield Raila Odinga from unnecessary attacks from William Ruto's allies. You know, initially, the attacks were directed at President Uhuru Kenyatta, because people like Rigathi Gachagua were like, Uhuru Kenyatta has done nothing, is doing nothing, and they won't do anything. So Uhuru Kenyatta went underground, started doing things. Then Uhuru Kenyatta started coming and playing politics. So when Uhuru Kenyatta started playing politics, what they did, they started attacking Uhuru Kenyatta. So Uhuru Kenyatta has now made it a contest between him and Ruto. So the people of the larger Mount Kenya region will now have to make a choice. The choice of sticking with Uhuru Kenyatta or the choice of supporting William Samoei Arap Ruto. How that is going to turn out, I still can't tell. But that's something which, in my view, Uhuru Kenyatta is doing. And number four is creating Mount Kenya East and West. If you've been following Uhuru Kenyatta's politics, he's been very strategic. Uhuru Kenyatta is approaching Mount Kenya East differently from the way he's approaching the Kikuyu nation. In Mount Kenya East, Uhuru Kenyatta has managed to bring them together. Kiraitu Murungi, Peter Munya, and then there's that independent candidate and other politicians there. So now these guys are likely to get a running mate slot, in my view. If they won't get, then Uhuru Kenyatta is going to make sure that the Mbas party becomes a dominant party in that region. Yeah, so we have, like, in Embu, there's Leni Kivuti. Meru, there is Kiretu Murungi. In Tharaka, I think they also have another very strong candidate there. So they are setting up candidates all over. So Uhuru Kenyatta has managed to split Mount Kenya region just for politics purposes. And number three is development project. And this has worked magic for Uhuru Kenyatta. The UDA party and their brigades actually managed to penetrate the larger Mount Kenya region, because they used to tell them how Uhuru Kenyatta has done nothing, how the handshake has stalled projects. So when they started doing that, Uhuru Kenyatta and his team listened to them, went to the ground, went underground and went to the ground. They fixed all the development projects they were being accused of not doing. So that's the first thing Uhuru did. Then they launched those projects. So today, in the larger Mount Kenya region, you can't talk of development that Uhuru has not developed the region. He has. In the larger Mount Kenya region, you can no longer talk about coffee prices because Peter Munya has fixed it. So those development projects is now one of the reasons why William Ruto's team cannot sustain whatever they started, because they were like, Uhuru has failed, coffee, blah, blah. So Uhuru has done that. And lastly, is direct engagement. I was reading the Daily Nation. Was it the Daily Nation or one of the dailies? And I was reading a very interesting article there that Uhuru Kenyatta had organized a meeting of aspirants from Kiambu who are running on Jubilee. And one of the things he did to them was that he called them and talked to them and made an assurance to them that he's going to go there. In fact, I'm told that Uhuru Kenyatta is now dealing with aspirants from the larger Mount Kenya region directly. He calls them to get the facts and figures from the ground, because there was this accusation that his allies were misleading him. So Uhuru Kenyatta has decided, if they were misleading me, now it's my time. So he's picking calls, calling these people, getting their feedbacks, and he's dealing with those feedbacks. And that's why you can say that Uhuru Kenyatta's rating has started going up. Let us wait and see the day President Uhuru Kenyatta will now start going or start hitting the ground campaigning for Azimio candidate. That's when we will know whether the strategies are actually working or not. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.